The packet of spaghetti in your cupboard might not be what you think it is. That Italian pasta with countryside imagery and Mediterranean branding is often made in factories thousands of miles from Italy, using wheat of such poor quality that Italian producers would not touch it. Durum wheat, listed prominently on the packaging, is frequently blended from multiple countries, processed so heavily that its nutritional value has been destroyed, and mixed with cheaper soft wheat that turns your pasta into mush the moment it hits boiling water. British supermarkets are flooded with pasta that fails to meet even basic quality standards. Spaghetti that breaks when you try to stir it. Pasta that releases so much starch it turns your cooking water into glue. Products labeled as Italian that have never been near Italy are produced by the same industrial facilities, making animal feed and cheap breakfast cereals. For decades, we have been told that pasta is pasta, that there is no meaningful difference between brands, that paying more for premium pasta is just buying fancy packaging. This is exactly what the industrial pasta manufacturers want you to believe. If you realized how catastrophically bad their products are, you would stop buying the cheap rubbish they are producing and demand actual quality. Real pasta is simple: durum wheat, semolina, and water. That is it. Two ingredients that have sustained Mediterranean civilizations for centuries. But walk down any supermarket pasta aisle and check the ingredient lists. Many contain soft wheat flour mixed with durum to cut costs. Some include vegetable oils to prevent sticking, which is only necessary because the pasta quality is so poor it cannot hold together on its own. The wheat quality matters enormously. Premium durum wheat creates pasta that holds its texture, maintains structure during cooking, and provides the firm bite that Italians call al dente. Cheap wheat from poor growing conditions creates pasta that is mealy, mushy, and falls apart during cooking. Over the next few minutes, we are exposing 8 spaghetti brands that represent the worst of industrial pasta production, followed by 4 brands you can actually trust to deliver quality. Number 8 on our avoid list is Tesco, everyday value spaghetti. Let's start at the absolute bottom, with pasta so cheap that it raises immediate questions about what you are actually buying. Tesco. Everyday value spaghetti costs a fraction of what quality pasta costs, which should tell you everything about the wheat quality and production standards. This spaghetti is made from the cheapest possible wheat that can legally be called durum wheat. The source changes constantly based on global commodity prices. There is zero consistency, zero traceability, and zero concern for quality beyond the bare minimum legal requirements. The extrusion process prioritizes speed over quality. Industrial pasta extruders can produce thousands of kilograms per hour by forcing dough through dies at high pressure and temperature. This speed generates heat that damages the wheat proteins and starches. Cook Tesco. Everyday value spaghetti, and the evidence becomes obvious. It releases excessive starch into the cooking water, turning it cloudy and sticky. It goes from undercooked to overcooked in minutes with almost no window for proper al dente texture. It breaks easily when stirred and clumps together despite proper cooking technique. For families choosing this pasta because budget constraints leave no other option, this is the food poverty trap in action. The cheapest food is invariably the lowest quality, providing minimal nutrition while being marketed as an everyday staple. Number 7 on our avoid list, Asda smartprice spaghetti. Asda's answer to Tesco value, competing to be the cheapest pasta on British shelves by cutting every possible corner in production. Smartprice spaghetti represents the same race to the bottom. It uses mystery wheat from the cheapest global sources, and industrial production is optimized for speed over quality. The ingredient list says durum wheat pasta, which sounds fine until you realize this tells you almost nothing. What variety of durum wheat? Where was it grown? How was it milled? None of this is disclosed because the answers would horrify you. The pasta behaves identically to Tesco value because it is likely produced in the same facilities using the same low-grade wheat from the same commodity suppliers. The supermarkets are competing on price, which means the pasta manufacturers are competing to produce the cheapest possible product. What frustrates us about smart price pasta is the name itself. This is not smart pricing. Smart pricing would mean getting good value for money. This is bottom-feeding pricing, where everyone in the supply chain is squeezed except the supermarket, maintaining its profit margins. Number 6 on our avoid list is Napolina spaghetti. Here we enter more dangerous territory, pasta with Italian branding that creates the impression of quality when the reality is industrial production with minimal Italian connection. Napolina is owned by Prince's Group, a British food conglomerate, despite the Italian name and Mediterranean imagery. The spaghetti is produced in industrial facilities using wheat sourced from wherever offers the best price. The Italian branding is pure marketing. The pasta inside bears little resemblance to what actual Italian pasta makers produce for their own consumption. Testing the quality reveals the truth. Napolina spaghetti cooks unevenly, with the outside turning soft while the center remains hard. Then suddenly, the whole thing goes mushy within minutes. This indicates poor wheat quality and industrial extrusion that creates inconsistent pasta structure. The texture when cooked is slippery and bland rather than having the pleasant firmness that quality pasta develops. This smoothness comes from high-pressure, high-temperature extrusion through Teflon dies rather than traditional bronze dies that create texture pasta sauce can cling to. What makes Napolina particularly problematic is that it is priced as mid-range pasta, not budget pasta. You are paying significantly more than supermarket-owned brands while getting quality that is barely better. Number 5 on our avoid list is Tesco Finest Spaghetti. This is perhaps the most cynical deception. Supermarket premium ranges charge premium prices for pasta that is only marginally better than their value ranges. Tesco Finest Spaghetti costs 3 or 4 times what their value range costs, creating the impression of substantially higher quality. The ingredient list says 100% Italian durum wheat, which sounds promising until you examine what that actually means. The wheat is grown in Italy, but in industrial operations where wheat quality is inconsistent and agricultural practices are intensive. Production happens in large Italian pasta factories that produce for multiple supermarket chains across Europe. They are churning out hundreds of product lines, adjusting formulations based on each retailer's price points. There is nothing artisanal about Finest pasta production, despite the branding suggesting otherwise. Cook this pasta, and it is better than Tesco value, but the improvement is modest. It still releases excess starch, it still has a relatively narrow window for proper al dente texture, and it still lacks the firmness and pleasant chew that characterizes quality pasta. What bothers us about Finest ranges is how they exploit consumers trying to make better choices. You recognize that value pasta is rubbish, you are willing to pay more for better quality, and Tesco exploits that willingness by charging premium prices for pasta that is only slightly better. If you are realizing that almost every packet of pasta you have bought has been some variety of industrial rubbish dressed up in misleading packaging, subscribing would really help us continue exposing food quality issues affecting millions of British households. Number 4 on our avoid list is Sainsbury's Taste the Difference Spaghetti. Sainsbury's premium range makes identical promises to Tesco Finest while delivering essentially identical disappointment. Taste the Difference Spaghetti is marketed with artisanal imagery, Italian sourcing claims, and pricing that suggests significant quality improvements. The pasta is produced in Italy using Italian wheat, which again sounds better than it is. The production facilities are industrial operations where speed and volume take precedence over traditional methods. The wheat quality is commodity-grade Italian durum, better than the cheapest global wheat but far from premium varieties. The extrusion process uses modern high-speed equipment rather than traditional slower methods. The drying happens in hours rather than days. Every aspect prioritizes efficiency over texture and flavor development. The cooking behavior shows the limitations. Taste the difference. Spaghetti is better than Sainsbury's Basics range, but it is still a long way from quality pasta. It goes soft quickly, releases noticeable starch, and lacks the firmness that proper pasta maintains. Sainsbury's charges £2 to £3 for this pasta when quality Italian imports cost £3 to £4, creating the impression of good value while actually representing poor value compared to genuinely good pasta that costs only slightly more. Number 3 on our avoid list is Cecco spaghetti. This is where we will lose some readers because Cecco has a cult-like following among people who think they know about pasta quality. Cecco is better than supermarket-owned brands, but it is not the premium quality product its reputation and pricing suggest. Cecco is produced at massive scale in industrial facilities in Italy. They are manufacturing hundreds of thousands of tons of pasta annually, which is incompatible with the artisanal quality their branding implies. At this volume, pasta production becomes an industrial operation where consistency and cost control dominate. The wheat used is reasonable quality durum from Italy and other Mediterranean sources, genuinely better than cheap commodity wheat. But it is not the premium durum varieties that small batch pasta makers use. It is good industrial-grade wheat, processed efficiently to create reliable but unexceptional pasta. The bronze dye extrusion that Cecco advertises is real and does create better texture than Teflon dyes, but bronze dyes used at industrial speeds do not produce the same results as bronze dyes used in slower, more careful production. Cook Cecco spaghetti, and it is noticeably better than mass-market brands. It holds texture better, does not release excessive starch, and maintains reasonable firmness. But it is not exceptional pasta. It is decent industrial pasta that benefits from better ingredients. The price positioning creates the real problem. Cecco costs nearly as much as genuinely premium pasta from small batch producers while delivering quality that is closer to mid-range. Number 2 on our avoid list is Barilla spaghetti. Barilla is the largest pasta manufacturer in the world, producing nearly 2 million tons of pasta annually from facilities across multiple countries. Barilla represents industrial pasta production at its absolute peak efficiency, and that means it represents everything that is wrong with treating food as an industrial commodity. Barilla spaghetti is made in massive factories where wheat arrives by the trainload, is processed through automated milling and mixing, is extruded at speeds measured in kilometers per hour, is dried in continuous industrial ovens, and is packaged by machines that handle thousands of boxes every hour. The wheat quality is fine by industrial standards. Barilla uses reasonable durum wheat from various sources, buying in quantities so vast that they can negotiate commodity prices while maintaining basic quality flaws. But reasonable wheat processed at industrial scale does not create exceptional pasta. The pasta cooks reliably and predictably, which is Barilla's primary goal. It will not be terrible, but it will not be good. It is engineered for consistency and broad appeal, which means it is engineered to be inoffensive and unremarkable. What really frustrates us about Barilla is how their market dominance has defined what millions think pasta should be. Barilla's industrial pasta has become the baseline that other pasta is judged against, when it should be recognized as a degraded industrial product. Number 1 on our avoid list is Dolmio Express spaghetti. This represents the absolute nadir of what can legally be called spaghetti. Dolmio Express is pre-cooked spaghetti sold in shelf-stable pouches, marketed as convenient, ready-to-eat pasta. It is pasta that has been cooked, preserved with chemicals, packaged in plastic, and designed to survive months on shelves without refrigeration. The ingredients reveal the horror: pasta, water, emulsifiers, citric acid, and preservatives. This is not fresh pasta. It is not even dried pasta that you cook yourself. It is pasta that has been industrially cooked, chemically stabilized, and packaged to remain fresh for months at room temperature. The texture is exactly what you would expect from pre-cooked pasta stored in plastic pouches, mushy, gummy, and completely wrong. There is no firmness, no pleasant chew, no structure. It is pasta-shaped starch paste. The convenience that Dolmio Express offers is marginal at best. Dried pasta cooks in 10 to 12 minutes. If you cannot spare 12 minutes to boil water and cook pasta properly, you have bigger problems than dinner preparation. What makes Dolmio Express the worst is not just the quality, it is what it represents: the complete abandonment of food quality in favor of convenience and shelf stability. Now let's talk about 4 spaghetti brands you can actually trust. These are pasta makers that prioritize quality over cost, use premium wheat, and employ traditional production methods. Number 4 on our trust list is Rustichella d'Abruzzo. This Abruzzo-based pasta maker has maintained traditional production methods while remaining independent and family-owned since 1924. Rustichella d'Abruzzo uses premium durum wheat varieties grown specifically for pasta production, milled carefully to preserve wheat quality. The pasta is extruded through bronze dies slowly, creating the rough texture that allows sauce to cling properly. It is dried at low temperatures over 50 to 56 hours rather than the few hours industrial pasta requires. This slow drying develops flavor and creates pasta structure that performs beautifully. Cook Rustichella d'Abruzzo spaghetti, and the difference is immediately obvious. The cooking water remains relatively clear because the pasta is not releasing excess starch. The texture window is forgiving, allowing you to cook it properly. Al dente, without the precision timing industrial pasta requires. The flavor is distinctly wheaty and complex, rather than bland and neutral. Quality durum. Wheat has a flavor that industrial pasta has trained us to forget exists. Availability in the UK is limited but growing. Specialty Italian shops stock it, some Waitrose locations carry it, and it is available online. Yes, it costs £4 to £5 per 500 grams compared to £1 to £2 for industrial brands. But you are paying for actual quality and pasta that performs properly. Number 3 on our trust list, Benedetto Cavalieri. Another southern Italian producer maintaining traditional methods in modern production. Benedetto Cavalieri has been producing pasta in Puglia since 1918, and they have resisted the pressure to industrialize and expand at the cost of quality. The wheat sourcing is transparent. They use specific durum wheat varieties grown in Puglia and Basilicata, regions known for excellent durum cultivation. The wheat is milled in-house, giving them complete control over flour quality. Pasta production uses bronze dies and slow drying over 24 to 30 hours. The texture created by Cavalieri's production methods is noticeably different from industrial pasta. The surface has a slight roughness that helps sauce adhere. The structure is firm enough that the pasta maintains integrity even when cooked significantly beyond al dente. Cavalieri spaghetti cooks predictably and forgivingly. Starch release is minimal, texture development is even, and the final result has that pleasant firmness and chew that makes pasta enjoyable rather than just filling. Availability is better than Rustichella, with more supermarkets stocking Cavalieri. Pricing is similar, around £4 to £5 per 500 grams, positioning it as premium pasta worth the investment for anyone who regularly eats pasta and cares about quality. Number 2 on our trust list is Garofalo. Garofalo represents accessible quality pasta that is widely available in UK supermarkets at prices that are reasonable for what you are getting. They are a larger producer than Rustichella or Cavalieri, but they have maintained quality standards that many expanding pasta makers abandon. The production uses bronze dies and relatively slow drying, though faster than the most traditional methods. The wheat sourcing focuses on Italian durum varieties, with some imports from other Mediterranean sources when Italian harvest quality or quantity is insufficient. They are transparent about this, rather than pretending everything is always perfectly Italian. The pasta quality is genuinely good. Not quite the exceptional level of Rustichella or Cavalieri, but substantially better than industrial brands. Garofalo spaghetti holds texture well, releases minimal starch, and has a pleasant wheaty flavor that industrial pasta lacks. Availability and pricing are what make Garofalo particularly valuable. It is stocked in most major supermarkets, including Tesco, Sainsbury's, and Waitrose. It costs around £2.50 to £3 per 500 grams, meaningfully more than industrial brands, but less than top-tier artisanal pasta. Number 1 on our trust list, Montebello. This represents perhaps the finest pasta regularly available in the UK market. Montebello is made by a cooperative of organic durum wheat farmers in Puglia who mill their own wheat and produce pasta using the most traditional methods available at commercial scale. The wheat is certified organic, grown by the cooperative members using sustainable practices without synthetic pesticides or fertilizers. The milling preserves the germ and outer layers of the wheat kernel, creating flour with more nutrients and more flavor than refined semolina. The pasta is extruded through bronze dies and dried very slowly over 36 to 48 hours at low temperatures. The result is pasta that performs magnificently. The texture is firm and substantial, the flavor is complex and wheaty, and the cooking behavior is forgiving and predictable. This is pasta that makes simple preparations shine, that needs nothing more than good olive oil and proper seasoning to be genuinely enjoyable. Montebello also represents ethical production in ways that industrial pasta cannot. The cooperative structure means farmers receive fair prices for their wheat, sustainable practices are genuinely implemented, and the entire supply chain from field to package is transparent. Availability is mainly through specialty shops and online retailers, though some Waitrose locations stock it. Pricing is premium, at £5 to £6 per 500 grams, but you are getting organic wheat, fair trade farming, traditional production, and pasta quality that justifies the investment. 8 brands to avoid and 4 you can trust. The contrast between industrial pasta and quality pasta is stark enough that once you experience the difference, returning to supermarket brands becomes difficult. The pasta aisle has been systematically degraded by industrial production, prioritizing cost over quality, by corporate consolidation eliminating smaller quality producers, and by marketing that convinces consumers that paying more for better pasta is unnecessary luxury. For British shoppers who have spent decades buying whatever pasta was cheapest or most familiar, realizing that quality differences are substantial and meaningful can be revelatory. Pasta does not have to be bland, mushy, and difficult to cook properly. Pasta can have flavor, texture, and structure that makes it genuinely enjoyable. The choice is yours. You can continue buying industrial pasta made from cheap wheat by companies that view food as commodity manufacturing, or you can seek out producers maintaining traditional methods, using quality wheat, and creating pasta that performs as pasta should. Quality pasta costs more because quality wheat, careful milling, slow production, and traditional methods all require time and resources that industrial shortcuts eliminate. But the improvement in cooking behavior, texture, and flavor is substantial enough to justify the cost for anyone who eats pasta regularly. If this changed how you will look at pasta from now on, subscribing would really help us continue investigating food quality across categories where industrial production has degraded products while maintaining the illusion of quality. Let us know in the comments which pasta brands you are avoiding now and which quality producers you have discovered worth supporting.